So first we're going to line our basket. I'm going to use a little bit of old compost bag that I haven't thrown away, and I'm going to upcycle it for this particular project. So I'm just going to fold and push in the liner of my choice into my basket, pushing it and manipulating it around the sides just to try and cover up as much of that wicker as possible. This will protect the inside of the wicker from rotting out too fast. And it will also help keep the moisture inside the basket. And I'm just pointing out there's some little holes from the compost bag already there for just a touch of drainage. Secondly, I'm putting in our first layer of compost, just a small layer. This is quite a shallow basket, enough to cover the base and also a little bit of the sides, just taking up that liner there. I like to add in a slow release fertilizer with any kind of container that I'm doing. It just helps keep the plants going, especially if you forget to feed, and even in the winter when you're not going to be feeding as much on a regular basis. Just keeps everything topped up, nice, happy and healthy. First plant in is a Kaluna heather. Now this is a bit more late autumn, early winter colour. It will stay around and stay in flower through the whole of the winter, but the flowers will age and start to look more vintage as we get deeper into the winter, and it adds a nice bit of texture and movement to the basket as well. And again, just hitting sort of the end of autumn, I bought this lovely echinacea which is still blooming at the end of autumn and early winter. We're in November now and things are still blooming because it's nice and warm. So I'm popping this in for a bit of instant colour right now. It'll die back in the winter and then it'll return again in the spring. So it makes this winter basket last even longer in terms of interest. So really good value for money gift for somebody that's going to last for ages. Now I'm going to add some beautiful foliage in. This is a eucharella. It's actually a perennial, but it tends to hang around most of the winter and then has a rejuvenation period in the spring. This colour of the foliage gets more intense as soon as the weather gets colder. So beautiful bit of foliage, nice bit of colour that'll really balance out the rest of the tones in this basket for the winter. And I'm just finding some gaps now. We've got the 3 main plants in and we're going to plug those gaps with some winter pansies and winter violas, which will spread, and as the perennials die off or die down a little bit, they'll take over the basket and come into their own. So this basket will be sort of ever changing through the season and way into the spring, whilst giving colour throughout the cooler season, making your garden have a little bit of interest if there's not a lot else going on. It's just a nice piece to have with these pansies going in, and they're so easy to look after. The odd dead head, I'm deadheading as they're going in now just to get them ready and getting any dead leaves off to prevent disease and help them to grow a little bit better so they're not going to go leggy straight away. And they're just nice, intense bit of colour, and they'll keep flowering even if it snows. They'll bounce back up as soon as the snow goes and start flowering again. Really good staple plant for the winter and the early spring months. So once we're happy that the basket is full, oh, hang on a minute, one more to go in. That's it, we have got room for one more little bloom. There's always room for one more. I will just keep squeezing them in forevermore. So now we're looking top notch. Once we are very much happy that all the gaps have been filled, we're going to go in with our compost and secure everything in nicely. So I'm just tucking everything in, basically, tucking it in for the winter. So we're putting them to bed. Around the edges, around the sides, in between all the nooks and crannies of the plants, really firmly but gently pushing that glorious compost in making sure everything is anchored and secure, so nothing's going to be moving, and all the plants that we've crammed in this basket have got plenty of nutrients to keep them going through the late autumn and winter months. Now this takes a little bit of time, but it's nice to have a potter in the garden, isn't it? So I'm just really getting in there. It's taking me a few minutes to go around the front. I'm going around the back now with the compost, going just inside that little liner and pushing the liner and tucking it in nice and neatly. There's also a little bit of liner that was sticking out at the front, so I'm just going to snip that off once I've got all the compost around the edges as well. Once everything's tucked in and secure, give all the plants a little zhuzh, a little shake, and we're ready to go and put this into place for the winter. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video and it's given you a little bit of inspiration for your late autumn and winter garden. I'm hoping to raise some funds in aid of the Salvation Army through this new series that I've made on YouTube. Check out the description below for more information.